Sunday, October 22nd, Day 2 of our time in Prague. The day was cold, wet and overcast, but we were looking forward to exploring more of the city. Our included walking tour was to cover much of the ground in the old town that we had explored the last evening, but it would extend across the Charles Bridge to include Prague Castle, the Cathedral of St Vitus and the Wallenstein Palace. It started at the Powder Tower, the late Gothic gate by which the coronation processions of Czech kings entered the old town. Built in 1475, it formerly served as a gunpowder store and is still the starting point for the royal route to Prague Castle. Next to it is the Art Nouveau Municipal house, built on the site of the former King's Court. The design is the result of an architectural competition in 1903, and it now serves as a venue for classical concerts, opera and ballet. At the end of World War II, the underground of the Gothic 14th century town hall served as the centre for the Prague uprising against Nazism. It's now best known for its observation tower and intricate astronomical clock, a medieval timepiece on the building facade, displaying a parade of the 12 apostles as the clock strikes. Charles Bridge. The oldest bridge in Prague, commissioned by Charles IV and completed in 1402 to link Prague Castle with the Old Town. guarded by 30 Baroque-style statues and groups of saints representing great personalities of European and world history. These are but replicas of those erected around 1700. It's been described as a mystical space, even an open-air temple bordered by the bridge towers. Wallenstein Palace was built in 1630 in early Baroque style for one of the most powerful and wealthiest Czech noblemen of the period, a general who was unusually ambitious, unscrupulous, and irascible. This extensive residence was intended to rival the grandeur of Prague Castle that overlooks the palace from the adjacent hilltop. Wallenstein only got to enjoy his palace for 4 years before he was murdered as a traitor on the emperor's instructions for leading secret negotiations with the enemies of the emperor. It's now the seat of the Czech Senate. Walking through the royal garden on the way to Prague Castle, we passed the castle ballroom. This Renaissance building was not, as you might expect, used for holding grand balls for the high society of the period, but for playing ball games. The beautiful graffiti decorating the facade symbolises 20 female figures, which are the personification of the 4 elements, 7 main virtues, and the 7 liberal arts. Later it was used as a riding school and stables, and also as a military storehouse. The Cathedral of St. Vitus is within the grounds of Prague Castle. A church existed on this site as far back as 929. It was replaced in 1060 with a three-aisled basilica. The foundation stone for the present three-nave Gothic cathedral was laid in 1344. Construction was interrupted in the early 1400s by religious storms in Bohemia. In the mid-1500s it was damaged by a great fire, sacked and looted in the early 1600s, and heavily damaged by cannon fire during the 7 Years' War of the mid-1700s. Over the centuries it has been remodelled in different styles, and finally completed and consecrated in 1929, after a long 585 years, involving more than a dozen of the greatest architects of their time. It is a provincial pilgrimage site, due in part to it being the resting place of Czech princes and kings, including the sarcophagi of Charles IV, and saints including Vitus, Wenceslas and Adalbert. The interior is supposed to be quite something, but time constraints dictated that we would not see it. That evening we had chosen to experience some traditional Czech hospitality at a folklore dinner. We had expected a typically tacky tourist show, but were hopeful of something more. A coach transported us out of Prague and into the pitch-dark countryside. We didn't know what to expect of the venue, and as the coach negotiated narrow, dark, rural roads, we wondered where we could possibly be going. It finally plunged into a small, dark, apparently deserted village, and wound its way through constricted residential streets until it pulled up at what appeared to be someone's house. We were assured that this was our venue for the evening, and then directed through the front courtyard and around to an old stone barn. While the food and drink was being served, the entertainment started somewhat restrained, but became progressively more boisterous as the night drew on. The waitresses were rather surly, and the food and drink mediocre at best. But the entertainment was sufficient to distract us from those shortcomings.
last stitch is our panoramic instrument, and you just put your fingers in the water and slide the rope like this.
Maestro! So?
Monday, October 23, Day 3 of our time in Prague. We had organised a full-day tour to Kutná Hora, described as a bohemian enclave with a rich past. While it would have been nice to do, it would have been a long day involving extensive coach travel. So we decided, on our last day in Europe, to stay in Prague, relax and explore more of its treasures. On a cool but bright, clear day, we again strolled the old town at our own pace. Around lunchtime, we ended up at an outdoor table attached to a riverside restaurant, just below the western end of the Charles Bridge. Considering its proximity to the bridge, we were surprised that, at least initially, we had the place to ourselves. We enjoyed a simple pasta meal on the water's edge, watching the river traffic pass by. It was a fitting end to our time in Europe. Tuesday, October 24. Heading home. Wednesday, October 25.